Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Lies and Logic and I'm Matt Garrett. Today we are going to be talking about the Taylor Swift effect on the Canadian economy, as well as tomorrow's expected economic statement from the finance minister. And then in a bit we'll have a look at why Jordan Peterson has decided to stop calling Canada home. So it seems the pride Trudeau has in maintaining the Liberals' inflation goals has more to do with Taylor Swift than it does any decisions being made by our Liberal government. Maybe this is why he is still wearing his girly little bands. Let's have a look. You can see in this video, where we'll have no sound going, but you can see there he is,
laughing and having a good time wearing his girly little bands still.
And clearly, it has more to do with Taylor Swift. Would you look at that? Our economy was saved by Taylor Swift. It says here, let's take a look at this Swiftonomics report from the CBC. It says Swiftonomics helped keep November inflation around 2% or slightly rising, experts say. Inflation likely hovered at or a little above the Bank of Canada's 2% target rate in November, economists expect, after Taylor Swift's Era Tour swept through Toronto and offered a temporary economic boost. As of Friday, economists on average estimate the consumer price index rose 2% according to the Reuters poll. That would be unchanged from the October reading. However, CIBC senior economist Andrew Grantham says inflation for the month could tick higher to 2.1%, adding that some core inflation measures could look a bit stronger as well. He said her concerts, which took place over 2 weeks in Toronto, the Vancouver performances won't be captured in this data, affected prices for hotels, restaurants, and concert tickets. You get a big enough acceleration in inflation in those areas, it can impact headline numbers, he said. Capital Economics is also forecasting a slight uptick in inflation thanks to the global pop star. It predicts headline inflation for November rose to 2.2%. This would lead us into what to expect in tomorrow's well overdue fall economic statement, which is clearly expected to exceed the $40.1 billion cap set last year by Freeland herself. Is anyone surprised? Now Freeland and the Liberals are worried about future investment in Canada, which is what I was talking about in my last video. Dropping the rate so drastically can scare foreign investors out of Canada, especially when the US Federal Reserve is 1.50 basis points higher than ours. Makes far more sense to put your money there because our dollar is expected to drop further and theirs is only getting stronger. You can take a look at this CTV report, fall fiscal update to grapple with Trump presidency expected to show larger deficit. The Liberals' fall economic statement Monday is expected to show a larger than promised deficit and offer detail on how the government will tackle the threat of U.S. tariffs ahead of Donald Trump's inauguration in the new year. A senior government official said the fiscal update will include measures to incentivize business investment in Canada. The source, who was not authorized to discuss matters publicly, says the government is focused on how to keep and attract capital in Canada in the face of oncoming U.S. administration with an America First agenda. On Friday, Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland said with Trump as president, the U.S. has an open strategy of creating economic uncertainty in other countries to discourage investment, anywhere other than the United States. She said there is a global fight for investment and the jobs they bring, and Canada needs to be assertive in fighting for capital. We need to own the podium and say Canada is a great place to invest, she said, promising to elaborate on those comments in the fall economic statement. A year ago, Freeland announced a set of fiscal guardrails in response to a pressure from the Bank of Canada and economists to avoid fueling inflation with too much spending. They included capping the deficit at $40.1 billion in 2023-2024 and continuing to show a declining debt to GDP ratio. Forecasters already think the government blew past the deficit cap, with Parliamentary Budget Officer predicting it to come in at about $46.8 billion. So with this expected report showing the Liberals have overspent, it's going to be a no-brainer on canceling the $250 promised checks to all the slackers that want a handout. This is going to be a bad look for the Libs. Unfortunately, we're going to have to see a lot more of the other despised weasel in Canada, Jagmeet Singh, who is clearly going to start preying on the woke vote, since this report is sure to destroy any life the Liberals have left. And with all the damage done to our economy and the looming Bill C-63, we have chased off Jordan Peterson. I used to be a much bigger fan of Jordan Peterson. I often listened to his appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast as far back as 2016, which is when I really started listening to Rogan in the first place. Lately, I must say, Jordan seems to not have as much control over his emotions as he had in the past. Seems like there are a number of videos out there now where he actually cries on camera. Now he's working for the Daily Wire as well, which for me is losing credibility by the day, especially now that they have seemingly given Brett Cooper from the comment section the boot and replaced her with her friend. Lots of drama at the Daily Wire these days. First Candace Owens and now Brett Cooper. Let's have a listen to this video from Michaela Peterson's channel.
Welcome to moving to America formally.
I guess that's what happened, isn't it?
How do you feel about it?
There are decided advantages to being here. The issue with the College of Psychologists is very annoying, to say the least. And the new legislation that Liberals are attempting to push through, Bill C-63, I'll be living in a totalitarian hellhole if that legislation passes, and it could well pass. The government in Canada at the federal level is incompetent beyond belief, and it's become uncomfortable for me.
Now, I don't know what's going on with copyright with this, so I'm just going to interject for a second to spare myself any editing issues. So forgive me, and we'll get back to it right now, and I might be back in a few seconds.
In my neighborhood in Toronto, that's how it is at the moment.
So you're thrilled to be here, is what you're saying, in other words.
What happens is that as soon as you're successful anywhere in the world, if you have any sense, you move to the United States, because everything is way easier.
Putting Springsteen in your video, not a good look. That guy is a fucking loser. But let's get back to it.
Here. And you don't get hassled as much.
I couldn't believe how much easier it was here when I moved. Everything.
Even easy to get a driver's license.
The amount of red tape in Canada compared to here is insane. You can't do anything.
Yeah, well, and the Americans are going to be working real hard at getting rid of some extra red tape. So,
Yeah.
And they'll probably manage it.
Well, you can't blame the guy. His career definitely relies on free speech, as he is often saying highly controversial things. I've said it myself, up here in Canada, we have to watch what we say about some of our most despised politicians and political parties, as they could backdate things to try and qualify certain quotes or videos as hate speech. Well, that's it for me. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, as it helps grow the channel. This is Lies and Logic. I'm Matt Garrett. See you next time.